ngalweni ngiyokhalela bani nayi iphimbo lami liphindaphinde entabeni ngithi inyawo zami ngibeleze kulo mhlaba nemsindo ngifunana noxolo ey'ngalweni kukhala izimayemaye emzini kamkhulu umkhondolo usekhaya.
Sometimes the journey away from home is the very journey that teaches you how to return to yourself. Sawubona to you, sawubona to yours. From one great spirit to another. Igama lami uThulani wakwaMalivu. Welcome to Ubizo Daily. Today is different. Today, I'm not here to simply teach. I'm here to testify, to tell you exactly where I've been and what I've learned, what broke, what survived, and why, after everything, I find myself back in the city of gold, Johannesburg. Not because the journey failed, but because the journey prepared me for this moment. In September 2025, something changed. I made a decision to stop negotiating with the voice inside me. I had music, I had ideas, I had dreams and visions, but eventually there comes a moment where dreaming is no longer enough. You have to move. And on the 23rd of September 2025, I released my debut EP, Ubizo, The Calling. For me, the date became more than a release date. It became a personal new year, a new cycle, a declaration. I was saying, this is who I am. This is what I have come here to explore. And I believed in it enough to sell my car to promote it. Think about that. I took something tangible and exchanged it for something I could not yet prove. Music, purpose, vision, faith. People could have looked at me and said, "Uyahlanya lo, you are crazy." Well, maybe I was, but sometimes the beginning of a calling looks irrational to everyone except the very person carrying it. And then something happened. The work began moving. I started receiving interviews. Ntokozo FM, MFM, Kasi FM, Inanda FM, MUT Radio, Alfred Ndo Community Radio, Radio Tough, The Voice Lounge FM, Bush Radio, and the press began picking up The Story, Cape Argus, The Star, IOL Entertainment, Mzansi Pulse, The Africa, SA Music Mag, Vumani BO, The Bulrushes, Urban Lifestyle SA, Urban Street Culture, The Profiler, Magic 828, and other platforms. This wasn't just publicity to me. It was confirmation, because when you begin with very little, every door matters, every interview matters, every person who listens matters. Every time someone says, "I understand what you're trying to do," and then you begin to realize that actually, maybe this thing really is alive. And eventually, I found TikTok. I started live streaming. No giant studio, no broadcasting corporation behind me, no enormous production team, just me, a camera, a voice, a conversation, and the desire to understand the human experience. And people came. We spoke, we reflected, we questioned, we laughed, we went deep, we spoke about spirituality, consciousness, ancestry, life, pain, purpose, and slowly Ubizo Daily began becoming something larger than the music. It became a conversation, a gathering, a place where great spirits could meet, and that taught me something. Sometimes your assignment begins as one thing and reveals itself as another. I thought I was releasing merely an EP. Perhaps I was actually building a platform. Then life took me somewhere completely different. Vryheid, Ebaqulusini, rural Zululand, the land, the soil, the quiet. I had started this journey back in 2024, and eventually, after delays and circumstances, I had to finish what I started. Therefore, I planted, I worked the soil, I waited, I harvested, and for months, I lived differently. I wrote, I reflected, I worked on myself internally. I confronted parts of myself I could not confront in noise. And somewhere between the soil and the silent, I learned something. I learned that farming is sacred, but it is not necessarily my immediate destination. And that doesn't make the experience a failure, it makes it a teacher. The land taught me patience, the seasons taught me timing, the harvest taught me completion, and perhaps most importantly, the wilderness taught me myself. I even bought a drone whilst I was there, and I discovered something unexpected. I loved flying. I loved seeing the world from above. I still do. And slowly another realization came. My wealth may not be in the soil alone. My wealth may also be in cities, in media, in storytelling, in music, in broadcasting, in technology, in people. So I listened. The journey also taught me personally and changed me. I have lost people. I've cut certain people off intentionally, not because I was angry or out of anger, not because I hated them, but because clarity sometimes requires distance. Finally, I learned to say no without needing everyone to understand, without fearing judgment, without constantly explaining myself. I learned that protecting your assignment is not arrogance. Sometimes it is responsibility, your responsibility. In this regard, it was my responsibility. And I began understanding that breaking generational patterns is not always dramatic. Sometimes it looks like choosing differently, thinking differently, loving differently, setting boundaries, walking away, returning to yourself, and continuing. Great Spirit, I have bent many times, but I did not break. And eventually, the inner voice became clearer. It said, "It is time. It is time to return to Johannesburg, the city of gold, not to abandon what the rural journey taught me, but to carry it with me, to embody it." So I sold the drone. I sold some furniture items. I simplified. I simply packed what matters, and I came back. But this time, I am not returning as the same man who left. I'm returning with a clearer understanding of who I am and what I am building. I am a spiritual musician. I am an artist, an author, a broadcaster, a storyteller, an intentional storyteller, and the creator of a consciousness driven platform called Ubizo Daily. This platform, a platform deeply rooted in Alkebulan African history, ancestry, spirituality, consciousness, and the full human experience. And now I am building it deliberately. So if you're watching me from wherever you are or listening to this from wherever you are, I want you to understand something. The journey doesn't always look like success while you are inside it. Sometimes it looks like losing things, starting again, going backwards, leaving the city, returning to the village, planting, waiting, questioning yourself, cutting ties, starting over, and wondering whether you misunderstood your own calling. But sometimes the wilderness isn't punishment at all, it is preparation. Sometimes the delay isn't denial, it is development. Sometimes the ending isn't an ending, it is redirection. And sometimes you have to leave everything familiar to discover what you were actually meant to build. I am back in the city of gold in Johannesburg, and I'm not here to play small. And I say this intentionally, bravely, without shame, without fear, without ego. I am here to live the dream out loud, to make music, to write consciously, to broadcast, to teach and to learn, to build, to remember, to create, and to invite other great spirits to remember themselves too. September 23rd will come again, and when it does, I will celebrate 1 year of Ubizo, the calling. 1 year since I chose the call. 1 year since I bet on myself. 1 year since I turned intention into movement. And this next chapter, it will require everything that I've learned: the soil, the silence, the music, the rejection, the doors, the people, the losses, the lessons, the faith, all of the above. Because perhaps the greatest confirmation is not that just the journey was easy, it is that after everything, I, Tulani Malevu, am still here. I'm still creating, still believing, still becoming, still answering. Ngiyabonga. Ngiyabonga to the Creator, to the ancestors, to the elders, to the people who believed, to the people who didn't believe at all. Ngiyabonga to the doors that opened and to every door that closed, to the soil that held me and to the city that calls me forward, and to the source of creation that continues to give me breath every day. I bent, but I did not break. I wandered, but I was never lost. I left, and now I have returned. Sawubona to you, sawubona to yours. From one great spirit to another. Ubizo daily. The call continues.